Can everybody hear me? Is there a delay?
Just from it being connected to your laptop, the sound, the video's coming from there, and the sound's coming from your laptop, so there might be a delay between your lips moving and the sound coming through.
Oh, yeah. Is there a delay in the sound? Great. A few babies in the house. What's different than if I was up in the hutch?
I think you would usually use your camera as well, but I think I'm not showing you just the H.
Well, get the camera and just set up as I normally set up.
Yeah. You want to grab it? In the hutch?
Yeah, I think so. I think I put it back in the drawer.
Okay.
A few technical issues. We're just setting up as I usually set up. That'd be probably for the best. Baby number 1. Baby number 2. We will be transitioning cameras. Did you get the little adjuster things to get 2 things? Oh, we're good. We are good. Don't forget, I don't need to plug in the internet. Oh. So please forgive us. Let's see. Everyone working now?
Yeah. Oh, good.
So it's that one?
Yeah, that's a good idea. Let's. We don't want robots taking over. So, there's a few people in the room, so the eyesight goes a bit funny. Please forget the aim of these classes is to love yourself. And we'll see, probably, how much you don't. And when it comes to like loving yourself, how much resistance there'll come up, and how the general anticipated feeling is you'll feel uncomfortable. Like you'll feel uncomfortable, feel weird, like that you're doing something stupid. Yeah, when we do like certain meditations and it's about loving yourself, you'll feel stupid. Like, so we'll do a meditation. You're just going to love your body. Yeah, and you, depending on if you want to, you can physically touch each part of your body. You're going to love your body, and just note if there's any resistance. You'll not feel stupid. I don't want to do that. That feels contrived. And then you can just reflect. How much you put your body down. Maybe you don't. Anybody put their body down? Universal. Why don't you think that's stupid?
Normalized. It's normalized.
Everybody here? Yeah. Why is it clever or stupid?
It's completely stupid.
So why do you do it?
Familiar. Habit.
Habit. Does anybody have any other thoughts of what we mean by habit? Why, if you know you're doing something stupid, can somebody think of something that's stupid? I'll tell you something that's stupid. You cook a full meal for yourself and you put it in the bin because you don't like the way you rearranged it on your plate. That's stupid, right? Now, if I make you do that 7 times in a row, on the 8th time I give you freedom to act, you're going to do it. No? No. So what do we mean by habit? I'm doing something, I know it's stupid, but I'm going to continue to do it.
Is it compulsion?
You don't question it.
Rahima says you don't question it. Right, so what happens when you do question it?
You realise how stupid it is.
You realise how stupid it is. Are you still going to do it?
Probably.
Probably. Why?
Because I'm stupid.
There we go. Because I'm stupid. Conditioning from society. Something else. Conditioning from society. Yeah. But I think it's closer to you think you're stupid. If you spend the day thinking you're amazing and that you're wise, do you think that would be easier to then, when you're thinking about your body, to put it down and hate it? It'd be quite difficult, wouldn't it? It'd be quite difficult. So it's a viewpoint we have on ourselves. Yeah. So when we're working through this like fundamental viewpoints we have on ourselves of what? That we're rubbish, we're stupid, we're not worthy. We're chemical scum, I think, is the common materialistic paradigm. There's no reason for living. There's no higher power. Yeah. So the aim is to love yourself and to love your life. Yeah. So we want in this course for you to find the life you want to live. Yeah. A career you want to do. An art you want to perform. How to live a creative life. A beautiful life that you love. Buddha called this right livelihood, so it does kind of like it fits into your spiritual flourishing. Buddha says connected to living a right way of living. Now, right, you can hear those, like the English language, you can hear those words, wrong, there's a wrong way of living and there's a right way. So we just generally get that idea of the ideas we have about spirituality they come from, this is the root, this is why this is just like foundations of spirituality is to love yourself. This root, I'm unworthy, I am wrong. And then that enters into this realm and then appropriates all the teachings into this view we have. You know, the first view is we must love ourselves. From that view, you can start to love everyone else. If you don't love yourself, you cannot love everybody. You cannot do it. You can give people energy and things like that, but inside there's this, I'm not worthy. And it poisons everything. And hopefully it'll make clear what what we call spiritual teachings are. So just know that there's a connection, obviously. In fact, life is non-dual. It's not some highfalutin philosophy. It's just everything's interconnected, which means your job, how you are with people, yourself, it's all interconnected with how your spiritual life, just get rid of spiritual, how your life is going to unfold. So, someone tell me what difference because you tell me this all the time. I'm going to have time to practice Dharma. You know, I'm need to do this. You tell me what career you need to stop doing or doing to practice patience. Anyone? Because you tell me you haven't got enough time to practice Dharma, you're not doing it. Right. What job stops that?
I wouldn't say there's any. I'd say there's always an opportunity to practice patience wherever you are. Right. Maybe even more so out in the world in a difficult situation.
So we can take patience off your list. Does everyone agree? You can take patience off your list of I haven't got time to practice the Dharma, or right. Someone tell me what job prevents you from being generous. And that doesn't mean giving money, just generous with your smile, your time with people. What job prevents that? It's the same thing. Everyone, I don't just agree. Maybe you work as a prison warden, maybe. Heroin dealer. Things like certain, you get the right livelihood, certain things might be more difficult to be like a generous, loving person if you're like a hardcore criminal. But ultimately, like deep down, you could still be generous with them, right? So, someone tell me what job or your career that you like, you feel that you have to sacrifice in order to practice Dharma. Yeah, this is the thing, you have to sacrifice my outer world to practice Dharma, right? That's a, which one stops you from saying nice things to people and refraining from saying horrible things to them? Don't, please, like, go through it properly, because we've already agreed that you just basically think you're stupid, and you just, if you're going to do it, you're going to write out the things that you usually say to yourself. They're not just stupid, they're evil. And you just repeat this cycle. And if I say something like positive now, that's like clearing up, it's not that's obvious. It doesn't seem that obvious. It's like even you practice Dharma for years, like you got go through it in your mind. This is the point. Don't make it like, oh, I know that. Get it into your bones. Tell me something that prevents you from saying nice, kind things, and prevents you from refraining from saying horrible things. The next one's going to be a bit more entertaining. Find me a job that prevents you from killing. Right, the first one, speech. If you're a journalist, might be difficult, right?
We're always killing, no?
A job in which you you can't refrain from killing.
Abattoir.
Abattoir.
A vet, I suppose. Does a vet? Yeah.
I bet Samaya says, but we can then debate, get into serious debate about if you do it with the good intentions. It's a bodhisattva action.
Hakim says butcher.
Butcher. Do they kill? Or they just chop up dead bodies? Do they kill? Sometimes. So you can see there's like, this is what Buddha means by right livelihood.
Being in the army?
Being in the army. It's interesting that the worst negative action is the actual jobs. The other one's like not, what we're going through is like speech. You can do anything how you want to think. Doesn't matter what job you're in, but there are quite a few jobs in which you kill. So, I mean, let's try and avoid them. But, I mean, it's difficult, isn't it, if you're a gardener?
Mm-hmm.
And there are certain jobs and certain things we do that are easier. That's all, like Buddha meant, they're more conducive to a harmonious life, and one that makes us feel good about ourselves. But in general, apart from killing things, there's nothing prevents us from anything prevent us from having a joyous approach to being patient, a joyous approach to being generous. Again, there's nothing, right? Is there any? There are now. We're getting more interested. Are there any jobs that affect your ability to concentrate on the Dharma? Paul.
Sometimes for me personally, it's loud noise and too much exertion. Kind of breaks the concentration.
Jobs where you're, it says loud noise, too much exertion. Does that prevent you from being patient with it?
No. find it's more difficult to be patient with it.
Yeah. We can still practice the Dharma, but we may not have an idealized thing of like focusing on the ability to concentrate on your mind. One of the notoriously difficult ones is an accountant. You just have to deal with numbers and money all the time. People that have worked in like spiritual centers and they deal with the money, it's the hardest job. No one wants to do it. Other jobs, like if you're cleaning, you can just keep your mind on the Dharma. Physical labour's great and stuff, but jobs that occupy your mind can be for that element of concentration. But in general, most jobs or most things you're doing, you can maintain in a state, right? It's not actually anything really preventing you from, if you are an accountant, then you need Dzogchen, just to observe the numbers moving through. And is there any job that prevents you from being wise? As I go through, it's laughable, isn't it? The ideas that we garner about our spiritual life, what spiritual practice is, and how we appropriate that as an identity. I'm a spiritual person because I wear certain clothes, go to certain classes, I do certain practices. None of those things are the spiritual path. None of them. And you don't know who's spiritual. Just because someone is the Pope or the Dalai Lama, it doesn't mean they're spiritual. If someone does many hours of sitting meditation, it doesn't mean they're spiritual. It just means maybe they've got a job they enjoy. So the reason I talk about this in the current people sitting here, don't know if there's people watching or people watch it in the future, is I want a career that I want. And one of those careers might be to be a monk or a nun. But yeah, when we're doing this course, a lot of the stuff will be things that I've done myself. So there's probably disclaimers these days for seek. This is not saying you don't need a therapist or a doctor or some other thing. So I'm just mainly speak from personal experience. Yeah, I remember like being a monk, and I was just so happy. And I was so happy when I studied drama and performance. But this is what I want to do now, like later on in my life. Both the careers. They've got nothing to do with the Dharma. I met some of the most miserable, I'm not going to swear, people I've ever met who are monks. Like really hate life. It's going, and like I don't want to speak to you. The reason I'm a monk is I want to get away from people. And it's like, and then our master would make me make me be with people. It's like I don't like people. It's just like. Just what I renunciate from like the external point of view. Don't like people. I want to withdraw from the world. You think that's spiritual? Does anybody think that's spiritual? Does anyone think that's the Dharma? Like you teach kids that?
I think I always thought that was spiritual, and that's my spiritual identity is to be a nun and withdraw from the world, and it's a constant. This is great. This is exactly because it's an idea that's got in, and I do think that's spiritual. Like nuns and churches and caves and meditation and so it's.
Well, hopefully when we as we go through this, you might just go, that's absolutely what I want to do. But it's not spiritual. So it's that's how I live now. I'm very blessed that I'm a meditation teacher. There's like a crossroads of being a theatre director and acting teacher and meditation teacher. It's like I love it, but it's not spiritual. It's just a career. It's a nice thing to do. So I hope like you understand that distinction. It's like it's a lifestyle. So you have to find, this is the point, this is the real point of Buddhist thing, you have to find the career that makes you, that brings about those qualities of love, generosity, good speech, this internal joy that is the Dharma. And the two go together, hand in hand. There's no career that can stop the Dharma. Yeah. If you're working as a journalist, to not engage in idle gossip or divisive speech, it's a serious test. If you're a primary school teacher, it should be pretty easy. Might not be. Someone might. Hopefully, you're with me. You understand. Everyone understand this. It's like we want to get to. This is how I want to live my life. And to not be afraid to do that. Like, for example, if you want to be a monk or a nun, there's like voices go, no, you shouldn't do that. You've got kids. You've got this. You shouldn't do that. You shouldn't. But I really want to. But no, but that's. You should be in the world. You should be in the world. You should be a bodhisattva. Should. And on the other side, it's like, I just want to have kids and a family and play all the time. So you should meditate more. You should practice. You should do formal practice more. Should. You could, don't know. Maybe it'd help if you've got like a pen and paper, or if you maybe do it in your head, or if you're here actually, you can just go for a walk. And I just want you to go through all the things that you should do. Like, just be honest, go, I should. And think of the things. Just let them come. Just like spend 5 minutes just going, I should do this. I should do this. Whatever it is. Yeah. It's 12 o'clock. Let's come back. 5 minutes. Just go through all the things I should do. And you can write it down, or
You should go outside.
I should go outside. She's still feeding? Thank you. Maybe we'll see how this course goes, that we may not record it, we may not might go online, we'll see, depending on what people want to share and what comes up. But does anybody want to share some of the things they should do? Of course you don't feel you should.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure if it. Sorry,
Yeah.
just to ask, was it because it was almost became like a to-do list, or is it things I should change in myself that I don't like, or could it be both?
Yeah,
Like the shoulds could be like,
Yeah.
oh, right, a compulsion to like have to do something.
just things that come up.
Yeah.
It's sometimes, you know, you can, when we're doing this, you can just cap it at 5 things, but sometimes it's just good to see how much unreasonable demands you make on yourself. Rahima.
Yeah, it was something that I discovered through talking to you the other day about I should be able to do all of this with removals and be like this type A parent already, and I should be able to put her in the car and go places and make appointments and do all these things, and yeah, realizing that I was living my life by this idea and bringing lots of fear because it's just not realistic, or it's not based on anything that's true for me at the moment. No, it's like day to day.
It's not based on anything that's true. It's quite a statement. How long have you been doing that?
Probably for a good 2 weeks, I would say.
I'm doing something that's not based on anything that's true. Do you expect to be happy? No. We're going to, as we go into the course, it's like, why are you doing that? Why are you doing things that have no basis in truth or reality? Anybody else want to share? Don't feel Hakeem.
Just rattle off my list. I should be practicing all the
Oh,
time.
I can't hear you. Sorry. Hold on a second.
I think we can hear him now.
Oh.
We may have to mute the mic. We have to mute your mic.
Can you hear me? Yeah.
We have to
Oh,
mute-
sorry. My mistake.
Okay. Right. I should be practicing all the time. I shouldn't follow music as it won't pay the bills. I should have a secure, well-paid job. I should have plenty of money in case. I should be further on the path. I shouldn't follow music as it's egoic to want to be recognized and validated. I should be more grateful. I should be practicing multiple hours a day. I should have my life together more. I shouldn't be spending so much time working, and I should have a partner by now. You're muted.
Absolutely. Whoa. Absolutely tragic. Yeah. Does anyone like? I say one of the rules. Forgive me, I'm not the best at organising structures classes. One of the rules that we'll have when we're doing these classes is you are not allowed to criticise anyone. Yeah, it's like it's the positive environment for what's coming up. So, does anyone expect Hakeem to be happy with that kind of list of shoulds? No, not normally people think that's like a recipe for happiness. Anyone else want to share? Like, what's it like for you to hear someone saying these things?
Heartbreak.
Okay.
It's heartbreaking.
Why?
my granny used to quote Robbie Burns to me, and there's a line, if thou see ourselves as others see us. It's like, if you could see what I see, and it's like when I look at Hakeem, like he's an inspiration in terms of a Sangha member, and like how much of a good person he is, and very successful, and in terms of whatever he endeavours. It's just like through the years these things come up repeatedly for us all, and like it's so sad that we can't see what we're doing great at, and it's being clouded by all these shoulds.
So what you're saying is Hakim's internal dialogue has got nothing to do with reality.
Yeah.
Just what you said.
Verse.
Just what you said. Right?
Yeah.
Does anyone here think what Hakim said's got anything to do with his reality? Or and we're not going to probably have time to go through everyone should. Does anyone starting to sense that what you've written down as you should has got nothing to do with reality? Does anyone else? Namka, do you want to share some of your shoulds? Thank you so much for sharing, Hakim.
I was going through a lot of shoulds, and it ended up being quite fast. Like, should do this, should do that, should lots of things. And it ended up being like it shouldn't matter what you're doing. But then even that's like an expectation within that should. But a lot of it was around maybe a sort of vague sense of self. Like I should maybe have more clearer direction, or it's a sense of desire or ambition towards. And then it's the self-critic of being like, just don't know what's going on. You've never known what's going on. And the sense of direction really was the kind of the theme. But before that, it was a lot of outer should be doing this in order for things to work better, like systemizing. Kind of.
Thank you so much, Namka. It's like as you're saying that, how much time do you spend thinking like this? Too much, Rahima says. If I say like more than 5 minutes
A day.
of your life.
Oh gosh, yeah.
Now, most of you here have done meditation. And it's like we're doing like, you develop a thought or an intention and you try and follow it for 5 minutes. Has anyone had through their meditations? I mean, we're all currently doing something together. This is, if anyone watches this recording later, but has anyone had any effect at all on their life from doing the death awareness meditation? Kim's nodding, it's had an effect. Youngchin's had an effect. Anyone's had an effect? Mm-hmm. How much time did you spend thinking about the death thing? Anyone? 50 hours? The thoughts were just constant, like, got to practice the Dharma, thinking about death. No, just for the time in the meditation, and then a few extra thoughts. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it's had a big impact on your life. Yeah, so you've just got to understand, this is one of the fundamental principles we're going to get into. What you think creates your world. What you think creates your reality. And this is, believe it or not, this is like good news. This is what I think creates me. If I just think for 5 minutes something positive, it has an effect on my life. But know, you've got to know that all those thoughts that you're having, I should do this, I should do that, they have an effect on your life. It's just a constant displacement from who you are and where you are. It's this, I think, like Namko was alluding to it, or maybe he was saying, I'm not good enough as I am. And I need something else. So I should have something, I should be doing this. So the fundamental principle we're going to work on is I love myself as I am. I am good enough as I am. And you can't just think it a couple of times. You have to do it again and again and again and again. You have to replace I should be doing this, I should be doing this, I should be doing this. As Rahima said, 2 weeks of being a bad mother, blah, 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 with a good thing. You're going to make a contract with yourself. Yeah, we'll get it written up somewhere. And it's important, contract's important. To dedicate your time to love yourself. Yeah. Now, how much time have you spent criticizing yourself and disapproving of who you are? That's what should do. How much time have you spent?
Lots.
Lots. Yeah.
I also do something else, which is imagine everyone else is criticizing me and that they hate me, and that so I do it to myself, but I also project a world that's also doing it.
But this is the root of why.
Exactly. So
Yeah.
it's this kind of inherent victimhood that's perpetuated as well. So
Yeah, it won't let you come out. No. Yeah. Where's it got you? So everyone tell me where it's got you.
sick.
It's got you sick?
Not now, but
Anyone else? Unhappy? Unhappy. Does it work? Does the constant self-criticism and disapproval work?
Creates a lot of tension.
Creates a lot of tension. Yeah. Does it make you a Buddha?
No.
Right. Does everyone agree it doesn't work? Yeah. You can write in the chat if you go, no, it works. No. Does anybody here think it's wise to follow something that doesn't work? Right. So now it's time to approve yourself. I am good enough as I am. I'm going to love myself. I'm not going to criticize myself. I'm going to praise myself and approve of who I am. And try it and see if it works. And then see if there's resistance to you approving of yourself, loving yourself. Then we'll come to another fundamental. I almost guarantee you will blame God. God doesn't want me to. No, it says in the book that you're not meant to enjoy yourself. It's bad to think like this. It's bad to have desire. It's bad to... Whereas the Buddha said all the negative stuff, like the things that you come from because you don't love yourself. So when he's talking about, like, don't follow that desire, it's from this space. He's not talking about desires are bad, being alive is bad. They're not talking like that. But if you've had a wrong set of teaching, then it just goes, and it makes it worse. Yeah. Tantra, if you go into Tantra, is so fundamentally approving of yourself. You just imagine you've got absolutely zero flaws, and you walk about like that. Like everything you do is perfect and enlightened, and you can do anything. You can shout at people. You can just... That's what it is. My first response is fear that praising myself would stoke the ego. Classic spirit. Oh, saber-tooth. Sorry, Sebastian's got the mall in his mouth. Yamantaka. Sorry about that, Sylvia.
If you turn up your volume, I can turn it down here, and then you can have a dialogue with people who want to speak. Just their sound to come through.
No, he's typed it.
Okay.
Yeah. My first response is that praising myself would stoke the ego. Anyone else feel that might come up?
I feel that when I'm really going bad on, like, molesting myself with negative criticism, that is my ego. I feel that's because it's so dark, and I've seen it as through it. Like, I'm not believing it all the time, but it's so. It makes me unkind to other people. So it's clearly not a good thing. Even if I have a big happy ego, at least then I'll be. I'd rather have a different kind of ego, even if it's ego, because this one it's mean and it's miserly, yeah, and painful.
We've got to get into the habit of praising ourselves a lot. That's what Tantra is. You just constantly, you offer things to yourself. Spend an hour and a half every day if you're doing Vajrayana, and you're offering things to yourself. You chop up your old bodies. No, I'm not that anymore. I just offer it back to the universe. I am divine. But that's Tantra. That's like, we're going so far out on loving yourself. The first thing is understanding how much you think negative things, understanding the impact thoughts have, and doing it and committing to loving yourself. And allowing good things into your life. One of the things that maybe come up, synchronicity. I think, I can't say his name is Goethe or something. It says, when you decide, I am going to follow the stream, doors just start opening. And this is true. If you're just not available to it, it can't happen. And some of the other fundamental principles are, you are part of the creation. Now, you don't have to believe in a higher power. Many of you may or have experience. And for this class, we use the term higher power. Someone tell me what makes the flowers grow.
Sunshine?
Sunshine. Someone tells me what makes the sunshine shine. Don't know. Is it something?
Mystery.
The mystery. But there's something. There is a force that's making it happen. The sun isn't of itself creating itself and then making it happen, right? What's making my child grow? Like, sunshine's not making this carpet grow. It's receiving the sun. There's a force, right? Or if you have a corpse, the sun's not making the corpse grow. There's a force. What's breathing you? What is it? Is it there or not? This is the question. Is there something there that is making things happen? There's a force in Star Wars. The Tao. This great spirit. Something. And it's creative. So the other fundamental principle is everything changes. Does anyone disagree that everything changes? That means you can change, right? Hallelujah. You are not a fixed, stuck thing. That means you are being born anew all the time. Yeah? Which means the very life force is creative. Yeah? Everyone's changing means there's a new creation every moment. The next fundament. Yeah.
I was just going to say, it's funny how
You want to take the mic?
it's funny how the statements that we tell ourselves, the should statements, which probably don't change that much, that if we tell them to ourselves like a mantra, then it traps us into thinking that we don't change, but we are changing. But there's such a dissonance between the reality of our changing all the time and this boxed in perception that we are limited by this negative mantra that we're telling ourselves.
That's the ego. The ego is the fixed image of yourself from mind statements, and mind statements don't change. Yeah, that's what's stale, the mind. You just think the same thought. That's life, it's going on. And then we get stuck in this set of mind things and images of who we think we are by looking in the mirror, or whatever it is. And then we get a fixed, rigid sense of self, and that's just a thought. And that's uncreative. And that makes us afraid of change. And that's what paralyzes us, and it's built on all these negative thoughts. Yeah, and like what Samaya's saying, a healthy ego is thinking that's in line with the way things are. And this healthy sense of self arises from it. And that just helps us navigate life in a beautiful way. But the mind is just for understanding what objects are.
So what's the difference between our true self and a healthy ego? If that healthy ego is flowing with what is, then isn't that what the true self is as well?
Maybe.
Don't know. Okay.
But we need an ego. You couldn't function. But you understand what the ego is. It's just a series of thoughts and ways to navigate through the greater space of life. So that's an element then of the true self. The true self is like the master in which all things are in, but that's getting cosmic. But the consciousness, the force that we're talking about, that is moving through us, that is observing that all the processes of our life. And the ego is what arises from the processes of our life. The ego is just a thought. So when we understand Buddha's teaching correctly, or the way we're teaching, we don't presume anything, is Buddha doesn't deny anything. He just explains how things function. If you really think there is a person called Santa Claus, you're in trouble. If you understand that Santa Claus is something we make up in our minds, people can play Santa Claus, there's no problem, right? We understand how it actually exists. But there's no real Santa Claus who lives in Lapland that you can go and have a cup of coffee with, unless someone pretends to do it. Am I making sense? Right. But we'll start to see blur the lines between what having rest in the true self is and what the real self is, and what the ego is, and what it means to function properly. But we don't want to get too much idealized about that just now, because then that can interfere with these fundamental sense of I love myself. Yeah, so we love ourselves totally, and then Buddha's teaching, then going, right, now how does that self exist? I want you to feel how different that is, and I hate life, and I want to see through the ego because it's so completely different. That's who Buddha was dealing with, like some real strong characters. Look, at the time, they're all like philosophical geniuses, a lot of his disciples, like high up, like professor level meditators who'd come and speak to him. They're like disciples of their own. They weren't like, oh, I'm so bad. Buddha wouldn't be teaching. He'd just be like giving them hugs. It's a very, very different time. The other fundamental principle that we're going to bring is that I am unique. How much time do you put yourself down in comparison to others? Oh, big one for Samaya. I came smile. Does anybody not do it? Now, if you're unique, someone tells me how that makes sense. And what's the judgment system? Is an oak better than an apple tree because it's taller? And like, who's put value on tall? This is gonna, this will be probably maybe a lifetime work, maybe. But we want to go into is, where do my thoughts come from? All the shoulds that you had, feels like a lot of it is comparison. Yep. Where does these thoughts come from? Like Sylvia, where does it come from? Where do all the shoulds come from? You can do this for homework, actually, for the next days. Where do they come from? We can all agree that I'm not in touch with reality when I'm going through shoulds. It was like made these statements. Where did they come from? That I should be like this. Think of a should you've got from your list.
Borrowed voices from others, from the media.
Borrowed voices from others, the media. The one that you've got, can you think where it came from? Parents. And school. So, just going from that, do you want to live your life based on what school told you when you were how old?
5, 6.
5, 6. Anyone? Is that wise?
No.
No. No, we're like all adults and we're like kind of smart, but you're living your life according to what someone said when you're 5 or 6.
Clearly not.
Yeah, and we said it doesn't make you feel good. It doesn't work. It's not basis in reality, but that's what you're doing. Are you doing that with the Dharma? You're a Dharma practitioner. Is that same kind of voice should approaching the Dharma? Yep. So you're approaching it like, I mean, I don't want to put you down. You get your own sense of the level in which you, the dissonance between you've monkeyed about with adult faculties, like the power of the mind, and the space you're coming from. And then wondering why things don't work. Because you don't love yourself. You don't trust life. So we're just listening to these voices, and these are like energetic patterns we have to release. I'm just like saying this because you've got to, what's it, Hakim says, the problem is I believe a lot of my shoulds are reality. Exactly. And this is why we're doing the class, to make it, is it clear to you when I'm speaking? It's not?
Mm-hmm.
Some of them, yes. Some of them,
Sorry,
no.
Danny. Try again.
I'm just saying some of them, it is clear that they're nothing to do with reality, but some I feel are.
For the sound.
So we have to. Can you share with us any that you feel are reality?
I suppose the ones more like, especially my, big security ones. Like I should have a secure job that I don't necessarily like because I need to be secure, things like that.
Is there any way for us to have a conversation?
Yeah, you just have to, if you turn your volume up, I'll just do this.
Right, great. Where did that thought come from?
Yeah, parents, society.
One sec.
Can't hear it.
Can I just, if we just try the audio, make sure it's selected, speaker.
Okay, try again.
I'd say it's like parents and society beliefs, I suppose, probably.
So say the thought again that you should.
That I should have, been a secure job that earns me a lot of money that I don't necessarily like. I just need to suffer because I need to be secure.
Why is that the truth?
Well, I suppose it's not the truth, but it's just such a deep belief around, especially beliefs that are funded by fears. They're harder to say are not reality.
Ah, but you just agreed though. It's not true, right? It's
Yeah.
just a belief. Can you trace where the thought? This is what you do it. Spend some time doing it. Can you trace where that thought came from? How does it make you feel? It's just a should. So, I'm doing it for time. So, one of the things you're going to do, part of your commitment to yourself, is ban the word should. And you have to be very, very rigorous about it. So it's not just, I shouldn't say the word should and then continue with what you've been doing. It's meaningless. It's like you have to stop and go, that's it. I'm not listening to that. I'm not using that vocabulary. Thoughts affect us. Vocabulary affects us. Yeah? You're going to change it to, I could do that. It's a possibility. Yeah. You can say, if the universe allowed, I could do that. It might be possible. If you're thinking about the past, I should have done that, then you have to understand that's meaningless. Or you go, it could have happened if I had all the elements that make up the causation for that to happen. But I didn't. It couldn't have been any other way. As soon as you know not to put your hand in the fire, you stop doing it. But before that, you don't go up to the child and the child might go, I shouldn't have put my hand in the fire in the first place. I should have just been able to see. It's just meaningless. Make this connect that between the should is not part of reality. You're not like that. And so we have to do this a lot. Yeah. So these fundamental. So you're going to say something.
I was going to ask, what I noticed my list is I am actually doing them already. So I'm making a problem about what I'm actually already doing. So it's like, I don't know what that is. It's like it's a little bit past. It's subtle. It's like just making everything wrong instead of right, when it's exactly already what I am doing or making my best effort to do, or so it's making a fight where there is actually no fight.
I mean, I think now we get into original sin. Yeah, it's just no matter what I do, I'm not lovable.
Exactly.
Yeah, so we'll get into the core principles which you have to. There's loads of them, but there's actually a lot. But the things that we've done in the Dharma, you have to you say this list every day. You have to go through this stuff every day, all the time. Changing your internal dialogue to this absolute fundamental contract with yourself to love yourself, and really go through, understand what we're saying, let it affect you, that all your shit's got nothing to do with reality, that you're spending all your time thinking these things create your reality, create what comes back to you, reflection. It's all wrong. In the sense, it's making you miserable. It doesn't affect change in the way you want. It's ineffective, we talked about. Yep. So our nature is pure. Yep, it's like Buddha nature, it's called. Muhammad probably did it the strongest. You are pure. Buddha nature's there, but they've been but you've been in wandering samsara since beginningless time and you haven't been in touch with it yet. Some of the teaching. Muhammad's not you are born pure. Same with Osho. As a child is a Buddha. It's pure. It's not a Buddha, it's not conscious itself, that's all. And then things come on and it takes us out of that state. Our nature is pure. Everything you've been talking about is not you. And you have to reflect on this and take it as a principle in your life. You've got to go, I believe that. I'm going to live that. I'm going to identify that I am pure. I am good. Yeah? That the life force, this is the other one, is creative. We are part of it, and our job, we can't not be creators. We're doing it all the time. And what Rahima said, what's blocking it is these stale thoughts that just kind of a veil that get in the way of the way you spoke to yourself outside. You've never spoke like that before in your entire life. It's new. It's a new creation. Everything is a new creation. Just understand this unbelievable force of love. It's just creating and flowers, and it's just creating a new flower every day. It's new. It's creating, and you're just going to this internal voice about things that happened in your past that you identify with. You have nothing to do with you, just keeping you down. And you've got to get into this. There's a loving force that is making life, and that you are part of that. And if you really want to be spiritual, that's spiritual. If you really, really want to be in tune, where you, Don Juan says, you follow its will, and when you do that, it follows your will. You become co-creators. It's a weird paradox, but you start to feel that, and then new thoughts will start to come. Creative thoughts, they'll just go, oh, I could go over there and do that, and you're creating, and your life starts flowing, and this is what the doors are opening. That you are meant to create and do beautiful things with your life. Yeah. You can. There's some interesting territory we'll get into with the functionality of society and status around how you're expressing yourself, and just looking at flowers in a creative way. Yeah, and we'll see the connect between the shoulds will start to come in between that. Everything changes so we can change. Yeah, I can change. The idea that you can't change has got nothing to do with reality. Yeah, and you can change very quickly. Because what you're actually doing, what we talked about, it's not true. It's one of these things about things that aren't true. You can, even when you drop it, it's not true. Everything we do reflects our experience, so we have the power to change for the better. We have the inner freedom to respond to life as we choose. These are the things we'll work on. No one can prevent you from expressing yourself or deciding to love yourself. Yeah. And you can look at examples of someone like the Buddha. People spat in his face. That's your choice. Is there anything that can prevent that? Your inner choices. Nothing. We've got complete freedom. The other principle that we have to focus on again and again is life is precious. That means you're precious. Life is precious. We cannot separate ourselves from the life sources that support existence. And that's the fundamental is just like God doesn't love you. You are God. How can you separate yourself from the very thing that's making everything arise for you? Next one. Love is real. The next one. Forgiveness is for us. No, that's a big one. I'm running out of time. Forgiveness is not for other people. It's for us. There's a lot of stuff that will come with forgiveness and that merges with somehow forgiving the act, and if I forgive them, that means I'll hang out with them again. That's a classic block for resistance for myself. That means I'll invite them back into my house and hang out with them if I forgive them and say, your forgiveness comes. You don't even have to meet them or tell them. So you understand that they're caught in these things as well, and you release them from having a hold on you anymore. Yeah. Yeah, forgiveness is the big one. When you don't have to hang out with the person who did the horrible thing to you when you forgive them. Being kind is a view on reality, not an obligation or an obligatory act. We think being kind means I know I have to go and do things for people. No, it's how you view reality. It's just a sense of kindness, openness. You don't have to do anything. He said some people are moving stuff out. I wish I could help. You don't have to do anything. We think it's like a chore. Now, as soon as you go into chore mode, it moves, the kindness just evaporates into obligation and work and struggle and pain. We are creative beings. We've gone to this. Everything is changing into something new and original, thus life is perpetual creativity. We are all unique, we are all meant to be different. The higher power created me to be me. That's a classic. Is anyone here trying to be someone they're not? Trying to be someone different? Yep. Akeem shaking his head. You were created to be you. Can you let that sink in? Can you approve of yourself? This is what we're talking. Can you approve of yourself? Because God's created you the way you are. You're fighting God by disagreeing with him. No, I should be different.
This is so great.
Yeah, the fundamentals. Isn't it? And anyone, Hakeem?
Just as you say that, it's kind of hard to, the thought comes up, it's kind of hard to know what's genuinely me. You know, you say just be yourself, but what's all the false
How
with
am
it?
I not myself?
Yeah, basically.
How am I not myself? Tell me, how are you not yourself?
Um, I guess there's more meaning thinking of all the things I associate with all day long, believing that's all me, and then when you're kind of told just be yourself, I don't know, there's a dissonance there.
Yeah. You start to distinguish between all like the ideas you have, all the shoulds. Yeah, and you don't. We're just going. I don't trust myself. Yeah, and like this, like oppression of how I should behave. And like, well, if you lift it off, you might go crazy. That's the thing. All the things you've wanted to do, but you don't want to do, that you haven't been able to do. Then you have to trust that you've got wisdom. And it's like with Osho's ways, like do it. Put your hand in the fire. If that's what you want to do, put your hand in the fire. And you'll stop doing it because it hurts. I'm talking with someone this morning. It's like, get angry if you want. It's your life. You do this. The spiritual path. There's no moral. There's no obligation. There's no obligation. Get angry. See if you enjoy it. See what happens to your life. You'll start to notice your friends start to leave you. You start getting horrible feelings in your body. All the rest of it. I don't want to be angry. That's called wisdom. It must arise within. It can never be imposed on the outside. God gave you the energy of anger. That's going to Tantra. You love it so much, it's like becomes a deity. And when you practice in Dzogchen, there's no attachment to it. It's just gone. But this duality, it's like, no, I shouldn't be like that. I have an idealized version of myself, and this anger spoils it. And like a lot of the path that we talk about is like just this experiential learning of what is good for me through experience and the habit patterns that I've gotten that crush me and cause pain around other people. And there's a crossover of trying to distinguish, understand the question, of what's really me and what's the voices that I've been told to be like this that make me behave in a certain way, but they're not really what I want to do. But the Buddha's path is, if you really connect with who you are, all you'll do is love everyone. Yeah. It's like this inner trust, this inner love. And yeah, some stuff might come up. Oh, I mean, it should do. There's a lot of gunk in there. I guess it's going to have to come out. And you have to trust yourself. It's okay to, if you're going to love yourself, you've got to allow stuff to come up that you've repressed. That's the idea. And you want to go into like child states. So we will have this thing where you make dates with yourself. Yeah, and you have to commit to it. Well, I don't want to make a date. You go, that's stupid. You just watch the negative mind just come in again and again. We've all agreed that the way you've been doing things hasn't worked. Yeah, I mean, I'm going to try things that seem stupid or seem like it's like, oh, that's I'm above that. We realise we're not. We're operating from this really disturbed, like a disturbed inner child space, and we're going to go back into the inner child and love it and honour it. And you're never too old to live the life you want to live. That's the thing. And we transform it, and then just start. Anger will then have its own perfect place. This is the holistic spiritual path, like as shown in the Tibetan Buddhism and shown in Sufism. All the names of God, all these energies within us have their own place and time. Yeah. Whilst we're living in shoulds, it's, if you let anger out in that space, it's horrible, right? It's like a demon. Because it's just from this, it's like, whoa. But you have to see that. You can't, it's not just like, again, another thing. How does this make me feel? And the work we're doing is tracing back. So I think, trace back. But that was the homework, I think. Look at the sources of all what you think. Yeah. The other exercise you're going to do is look in the mirror for 5 minutes a day and just go, I love you. You're beautiful. And in the meditation, then get around to doing the meditation. You can do this when you look in the mirror. You can do it as a meditation. I am loved and lovable. This is the mantra. I am good enough as I am. I am meant to be the way I am. And I want you to think, when you love someone, you're loving them for who they are, right? You don't love someone because they're the same as you. So you're meant, everyone else is loving you that way. So they're in a way, they're affirming you to be who you are. And just these negative minds that block, we're going to get rid of them. So you just allow all that love in. And the best way to be loved more is to be yourself. But this is a meditation, yeah? I'll say it again. I am loved and lovable. I am good enough as I am. I am meant to be the way I am. So you can do that looking in the mirror. You can do it sitting. It's an affirmation. You can do it throughout the day. I am loved. I am lovable. And you can play with it. Just constantly. Self-affirmation, positive affirmation. You're banning the word should. Likes the mouth. And you're looking at the sources of thoughts. Okay, that's 1 o'clock. We'll, if we had more time to do that, we've just done that as a meditation now. You can get into breathing meditation for a little bit and just do that. You can do it for 5 minutes. But I say out and about all the time, just constantly. And I love my life. I love who I am. And the things we've talked about, you can reflect that God has created you the way you did. Okay, so thank you so much for the class. I hope you start to make the connect between this and we'll bring your Dharma practice to life. This is a fundamental. And enjoy and watch. Keep recording the resistances. All the I don't want to do this. And just keep noticing that mind that wants to keep putting you down. Okay, thank you so much. God bless.
Thank you.